you likely are not going to be thrilled with with what I'm about to say. It may not hit you right. I don't know. Every Gen X woman in my comments, in my comments on the videos where I talk about friendship, everyone is sharing their stories and saying that she is the good friend. We are the good friend. You are the good friend. Everyone says that they gave more than they got back. Everyone says that they've had a bad experience with female friendships and that they've been betrayed and hurt and rejected. So my question is, who are all these bad friends? How can we all, is it just that only good friends are on YouTube and the bad friends don't go online at all? Oh, I don't know. And the friendship comments, a lot of it like hit a nerve when I talked about Gen X women wanting community and struggling with getting it. Those that don't want it or claim that they don't want it because of hurt or betrayal or things going wrong, it really hit a nerve. And I heard stories of betrayal, ghosting, rejection, not reciprocal, feeling forgotten, feeling used. I heard a lot of things like, I've just given up on friendship. I don't need friends. My husband is enough. My family is enough. I've been, seeing those types of things. So the question is, are you truly content? Are you really fine without friendship? Or does it just feel safer? Does it feel easier? Does it feel safer than potentially getting hurt again? And it made me wonder, what about women without husbands? What about women without children? Divorced women, widows, empty nesters, people who don't necessarily have built-in friendships with their, immediate family. For women like them, women like us, because I'm one of those, we can't afford to give up on friendship. We can't just say, F it, I'm fine all by myself. I mean, yes, there's some of you that are solo that are saying I'm fine by myself, just me and my dog or me and my cat. But I still think that health-wise, it's more helpful to have human connection. Just my opinion, just my view. But so let's talk about the betrayal and the bad friend trend and think about it. I've had plenty of, more than my fair share of bad experiences when it comes to friendships and when it comes to female friends. Thinking all the way back to, God, I can't, probably the earliest one that just pops into my head right now, and it's probably earlier, was junior high, when, I had this group of very tight friendship girls. And, so I was what, like 12 years old at the time, 12, 13. And we were making the transition from junior high to high school. We were going into a bigger school. And I just remember that the summer between junior high and high school, one of the friends in the friend group decided that I was no longer worth being friends with. She thought that I was annoying, thought that, she just didn't like me anymore, basically, is what it came down to. And she was able to influence the rest of our happy little group to do the same. So I ended up starting at a new school instead of with my friends on my own, not having friends in the early part of high school. And I remember being really, really hurt about that and not really understanding truly why. So I felt really rejected. It happened again in college. I had freshman year, I was in a triple with 2 roommates, and they were really cool. I met one of them at orientation before school started, and she had known the other one. So the 3 of us connected. And it felt like a really great triad through the freshman year. I thought so. Looking back on it, I definitely see that the two of them had a lot more in common than I did, for lots of different reasons. But I thought that the three of us were really tight and had a great time, and we didn't really have any conflicts that we couldn't get over. I just and I enjoyed it, and I thought of them as like my very, very, very besties. And then at the end of the freshman year, they shared with me the news that they were going to go and get a double for sophomore year. And so I started from scratch with a brand new roommate. And again, I felt really, really hurt and betrayed. And I didn't understand. I didn't understand it. It was very, very heartbreaking. And I've continued to have similar experiences when I was little, when I was older, whatever. And I could decide that I was just going to give up, that all these women are against me, and that no matter what I did and how much I put into the friendship and how great I treated them and how nice I was to them, that they hurt me and they rejected me and betrayed me. So the heck with it. But friendship is not, it's not really optional. It's not really optional. I mean, it's true that as I was navigating, trying to figure out female friendships, and I didn't get good at it until my early adult years, I believe. I think I continued to get better and better at navigating the dynamics and knowing what to give and how open to be. But there was definitely a season where I felt much more comfortable with men. I had all brothers. I had for most of my upbringing, I had all male cousins. I felt more comfortable, friendly with guys, or in like dating romantic situations with guys. So that would take up like more of my space and energy. But I soon realized I needed those female connections, that those were the ones that were going to last. Those were the ones that were going to sort of be there for me throughout. So it just wasn't an option. So I had to look at, what did I contribute? Like how did I contribute to those scenarios? And, am I able to come up with things that I did, or how I behaved? I don't know. I mean, the college roommate thing, I'm a messy person. The two of them were not messy. That alone could have been a big enough reason for them to say, yeah, we don't want to room with her next year. That could have been why I don't know. I don't know what the rejection was, but it didn't necessarily have to be all their fault. And it didn't necessarily have to be, I'm the victim, woe is me. So I don't understand why we are so quick to write off women friends. Why can't we ask what actually happened? And if we can't communicate with the other person to try to find out, can we not be objective and kind of look at it a little bit and take it apart? I mean, as adults, like right now, a lot of the stories that I heard now in recent years, or there could be a lot of things contributing. I mean, I have adult friendships that have absolutely changed dynamics. And I realized that it was because of where we each were in our lives and how menopause was affecting us, and our hormones and our moods. And so how we interacted changed. So that had an impact. So there's a lot of different things that could happen. We could be at different life stages. We could be, experiencing menopause. One of us could be going through caregiving, or the other. It could be as a result of the burnout that we're experiencing, or financial strain that somebody is under. Sometimes people just start to like push things off their plate because their plate is just way too full, and they're getting more and more and more stressed that they have to let things go. When I was at my lowest of lows, I did not maintain or nurture hardly any relationships or friendships at all. And I absolutely could have been called the bad friend during those times. And thank God, none of my closest friends wrote me off during that time. In fact, they were, understanding and supportive, and they were there for me when I was ready. So there's a lot of different reasons. And I think we have to be willing to take some of the responsibility. There could be different expectations between friendships, how you expect them to behave and how I expect them to behave. Like it could be different between the two of you. You could have different friendship styles. I think based on what I read in the comments, it seemed like some of the women who have families, kids, husbands, whatever, they have different expectations of what they want their friendships to look like. Their friendships are once in a great while going out for a glass of wine, having some girl talk. And that could feel like neglect to another woman who maybe is divorced or single or whatever, has more bandwidth for friendship, has higher expectation, and therefore has just like feels let down and feels ignored. Some of the comments that I read made me think that you think that other person is doing something to you, that they did something to you, when that is not necessarily a fact. That is just your thought and your interpretation of it. There could be a myriad of reasons why they have not called you back, why you've called them 3 times over the last several months and they haven't returned your call. There's so many different reasons why that could have happened. And I'm just asking that maybe you take a step back and try to look at it more objectively, try to bring a little more empathy and compassion to the situation before you just automatically write off that other person. It strikes me as interesting that when you're in a romantic relationship and you're struggling in that romantic relationship, there's a ton of solutions and support to that. There's books upon books about books written about it. You can go to counseling. You can work on your communication. You put in more effort. You do you dissect it. You dissect the whole thing to death to figure it out, to solve it. You go to the ends of the earth to try to fix that romantic relationship and figure out what's going on and figure out if it's compatibility issues and doing your best to reconcile it. With friendship, a friendship is struggling, a friendship goes through a rough patch and it's forget it. Why is that? Why are we just so much does it really not mean as much? Or is that how we've been conditioned to think? And if we have, I guess it's because we've centered romantic relationships and for heterosexual women, that's centering men. So that's become a main focus. And if female friendships are challenging, you can write that off as long as you've got that central relationship. And then by extension, family and kids. But it just might be worth looking in another direction. I'm going to ask you a hard question. How do we know that we were actually a great friend? How do we know? The comments that I got was, I did this, and this for that person, and they did nothing for me in return, or I never heard from them, or they disappeared, or whatever. How do we know that we were being a great friend? How do we know that we were meeting their needs? Did we communicate our needs? Did we expect them to read our mind? Are we keeping score? Do we withdraw? Do we assume bad intent? Do we get defensive? So when that friend calls back, do we subtly try to make them feel bad for calling back too long? Are we dominating the conversation? Do we talk too much? Do we not listen to what they have to say? How do we approach, do we approach our friend with no judgment, with no blame and just curiosity. And like I said, it could be about friendship compatibility. Maybe it's not good versus bad friends. Maybe it's about communication style. Maybe it's about availability. Maybe it's about energy. Maybe it's about expectations. Maybe it's about what season of life you're in. Good women can be incompatible friends, and they can be great friends to somebody else. And that doesn't say anything about your value and who you are as a person, or even who you are as a friend. And it doesn't even mean that they think that you're less than, or that they think that you're not worthy. And even if they did, that doesn't matter. So like maybe women aren't worse friends. Maybe modern life is just making friendship harder. Maybe it's exhaustion, taking care of aging parents, health issues, work, financial stress. Friendship gets the leftovers, whatever we have time and bandwidth and energy for. But what worries me is not failed friendship. What worries me are the women that are closing the door on friendship entirely. Whether that's because you are putting all of your eggs in one basket and depending on your partner to fulfill all those needs, and depending on your children, possibly adult children, to fulfill all those needs. But things change as we age, and the cost of that decision can get bigger and bigger as we get older and as we progress through this season. So I understand why women give up. I wanted to give up too. I didn't necessarily have the luxury or the option to give up on that. I needed that. I didn't have the built-in companionship. I didn't have the built-in partner. But I don't think failed relationships tell the whole story. So the question to ask yourself is, what kind of friendship is possible for us in this season of life? What kind of friendship works for you? And how can you go about finding other people whose that same kind of friendship would work for them too? That is the key. And that is the beauty. I'm having such a grand time finding different women, more women who are like-minded, who are looking for similar things, who have similar values, that are, looking to create this retirement season of life. And I'm really, really, really having a great time getting to know them. And that is why I've been forming the communities that I've been forming. You may have come to one of our monthly coffee chats. Our coffee chats have become so popular, and I have my inner circle membership now. I've decided that since I'm nomadic, I'm going to be like, because I move around from place to place, city to city, I'm going to start like having meetups, like in-person brunches, lunches, that sort of thing. So if you go to genxwomenmeetup.com, you're going to get the details about the next live, in-person, in real life get together that I'm putting together. This is my first time doing it. So would love to see you there. Would love to meet you in person if you haven't given up on friendship. And if you're open to it. So I'd love to see you there. Let me know in the comments your thoughts. And, I know many of you are going to vastly disagree with me. Would love to hear from you as well. My name is Amy Palmer. I am your Gen X big sister, and I am signing out.